Good evening, guys. Today we're going to be showing you how to download your own police vehicles and add them onto the game or replace them with other vehicles in the game. I've pretty much done everything already. I'm just going to walk you through what I did, and if you don't understand, make sure you comment below with your questions and I'll get back to you. So first we're going to go over everything we need to download. Firstly, if you do not have OpenIV, make sure you get OpenIV. It's pretty much the only way to download the game, and I'm going to include the URLs for all these locations below. Also, you're going to need WinRAR if you do not yet have it. Basically, if a mod author publishes a file under WinRAR, then you need WinRAR to extract the file and whatnot. Alright, so next, you're going to need police vehicle add-ons. You're just going to download this, and this is going to allow you to add police vehicles onto the game. It's going to have all the coding you need. Alright, next is what you're going to need is you're going to need a vehicle. So I'm going to be using the Herc's LSPD Ford Police Interceptor utility. And what we'll do is go ahead and download the file and it will show up. So once I have all my files downloaded, it's going to be right in here on my desktop. Ignore the vehicles and the car variations. I'll explain that in a moment. Alright, so we have the Herc's vehicle, and there's the vehicle files themselves. So what we're going to need to do first is we're going to need to add these files into our OpenIV. So when you have OpenIV, make sure if you have not created a mods folder, you do so. I can't remember how to do it. It's been forever since I did it. But basically, if I were to go into, say, let me go into one of these. If I were to go into, maybe not one of those. Yeah, I can't find one that's working. So if I go into something I don't have in my mods folder already, I guess I have that in my mods folder. Oh, hold on. Edit mode, that's why. Alright, make sure you turn edit mode on first when you open IV. Open OpenIV. Otherwise, you cannot modify your files or add files, delete files. It will tell you the mods folder. You have to, we suggest putting this in the mods folder or whatever. That way if something does happen and crash, you don't completely corrupt your whole Grand Theft Auto. It's easily fixed through the mods folder. So yeah, if you're going to be replacing the vehicle, so say I wanted to replace the FBI 2 vehicle with the Herc's version of the Ford Police Interceptor utility, you're just going to follow the file location. So we're going to go into update x64 DLC pack patch day 8 DLC by x64 levels patch day, right? No, I left somewhere. I lost him somewhere. Grand Theft Auto vehicles.rpf. Alright, there's the game's default FBI 2, so it'll be the Granger, the blacked out Granger. So now all I do is I go to files and I drag and I drop them and it will update. So now what I need to do after that is to get the coding and the sirens and the lights to work correctly. I need to do the car variations and the vehicles.meta as well. So what I do is under important files. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to those locations. So let me go to one of those locations real quick. I'm not going to do both locations because once you get to the location, it's the same thing. DLC, common, data. There's the car variation. So you're just going to simply drag and drop. And when you drag and drop it, you're looking to make sure that the size updates. That will tell you that the file did successfully drag and drop. Otherwise, you're not going to get a notification saying it's complete. So once you drag and drop the car variations in the vehicles, the FBI 2 will be replaced and it will work in game flawlessly as the Ford Police Interceptor utility, and the FBI 2 Granger will no longer exist. And that's also another reason for the mods folder. Say you no longer want the Ford Police Interceptor utility as your FBI 2, you want it to be the Granger, then you can go out into here, into the regular files. So I could go into update x64 DLC packs. Where was it under? It was under patch day 8. And then go into DLC, x64, levels, Grand Theft Auto 5, vehicles RPF, and see, it's not there, but anyways, I don't know why it's not there, but you'd go into that same location, into the other files, and it should be there. I've clearly have it deleted for whatever reason, but because I have it in my mods folder, that's what spawns. Alright. Where'd it go? So now, let's say I want to add the vehicle on into the game. So basically I'm going to locate to this file location right here. Mods update x64 DLC packs, MP Christmas 2 DLC.rpf x64 levels, Grand Theft Auto 5 vehicles, and Xmas vehicles.rpf. So what I would do now is, oh, I closed out of it. I would find his vehicle files, and I would simply drag and drop them into the game, or into OpenIV. Now, because it is FBI 2 and that is a vehicle in the normal game, you're going to have to rename it, because otherwise it will create conflict when you try to spawn it. So what I've done is I renamed it YouTube for the purpose of this video, and that would be the vehicle. And it's going to spawn with his default textures, so it will, since he's got default textures applied to it, once it opens up I'll show you. He's got, where'd it go? He's got these textures on it, so it will spawn with these textures. So if you do not want it to spawn with those textures and say spawn with your customized textures, or you found something, say like my Text DPS vehicle textures, and you wanted it to spawn with, like, to look like this is his vehicle with my skin on it, then what you would do is you're simply going to download that texture. And once you download that texture, it will come out to, where'd it go? Oh, right here. Then you go in here, you find the vehicle, and those are the 3 Explorer signs. So I'm going to go into my .ytd, and I'm going to go to Explorer sign, and I'm going to say replace, and then I go into my folder where this the texture is, and replace, and then I save. And make sure you replace all 3 if you don't want it to spawn with the Herc's default textures. If you're okay with it, then don't worry about it. You can make it 3 different pictures, and it will spawn. So I could put, let me see, I could take a picture, a screenshot of this prisoner, and paste it into that, and that prisoner will spawn as the skin to the car. You can make it anything you want, in any organized or fashion, or whatever you want to do. Also, when you rename it, if it has an underscore high, or let's see, a plus high, you need to make sure that stays there. So when you rename it, make sure you select, and then you retype it. Okay. Alright. So now what we need to do is, now that we've put the add-on vehicle into the Xmas vehicles.rpf folder, we need to now add the files. So this is where the add-on files come in. We're going to go into Ford Explorer, Police Interceptor by Herc, and we're simply going to go to, I'm going to show you the location, this location right here. Update by 64, DLC packs, MP Christmas 2, DLC.rpf, common, and data. Here's the car variations folder, file. You're simply going to drag the car variations and drop it into here. So, actually, before you drag and drop it there, make sure you go into here, and you're simply going to rename the model to whatever you renamed it to. So since I named it to YouTube, I'm going to rename it to YouTube as well, here. That way the car will recognize the codes, and it will spawn correctly, and the lights will work, and the siren will work. You need to make sure you rename it. If you named it something else, such as Police 1, or sorry, you can't rename it Police 1 because that's an existing game vehicle in the default Grand Theft Auto game. If you named it to My Police Car, then you simply gotta retype it My Police Car. Alright, so now we go to the next location to put the vehicles.meta, levels, Grand Theft Auto 5. There's vehicles.meta. We're gonna do the same thing. Rename to YouTube right here. And then we're going to rename the TXD name to the vehicle name as well. And save. and then we just drag and drop it into OpenIV. Now again, whatever you named the vehicle over here in xmasvehicles.rpf, whatever you named it here has to match what you type in here. Otherwise, the vehicle will not work. And I'm sorry, I told you to drag and drop it there. I meant for you to, basically what I meant for you to do is I meant for you to copy. Sorry. I meant for you to copy it, and then you need to drag this out. And then paste it into here. Enter, paste, and then you're good. So, and you got to do the same with the levels for GTAV vehicles.meta. Replace. Sorry about that. And then you just enter, and then you paste it in there as well. I already did it there. Alright, and then once you do that, you can close out of everything, and we can go into game, and we can try it out. Alright. We're going to wait for this to load up. When you're running a recording and trying to run a game at the same time, it takes a while. Alright, make sure when you go in there and you copy and paste everything from the vehicles.meta to the carvariations.meta, make sure you get all the coding, all the backslashes, all the symbols. Otherwise, the car will not work and your game might crash when you try to spawn it. And every vehicle is going to be a little bit different sometimes. It's not necessarily going to be the same operation for every vehicle, so you just got to read the README file and go through that process. Generally, mod authors and texture authors are going to be pretty good at creating a understandable README file, and if they don't, just ask them, post a comment asking them for a README file or asking them for a video or something how to do it. And also right here, when you get to a loading and populating game world, sometimes if you missed part of the coding, it will crash right there. And that will let you know that your vehicle, your coding for that vehicle is wrong. And you probably need to go back and check. It could be something else, but that's probably what's going to be wrong. That's why it's best to install one mod at a time. Open the game, try out the game, see if the game works. And if it works, cool. Go back out, add the next. It's a tedious process, but that way if something does go wrong, it's easier to figure out what it is. Instead of you installing, say, 12 vehicles, and then it tells you something's wrong, game crashes. Now you don't have to go through each of the 12 vehicles and figure it out. It saves you time in the long run. Because you will mess up at one point and the game will not work at one point or another. Alright, so now we're going to spawn our vehicle. Spawn YouTube. Alright, it's in the game. Now we just can get in the vehicle and we'll try it out. Make sure all the lights and sirens work. Yeah, we're good. So if you notice it didn't spawn with like the push bar, for example, that's easily fixable with the trainer. I don't remember the name on my trainer, but vehicle options, I go down to vehicle component menu, and then I can enable it. And then let's see, what else can I enable? You see the spotlight came on there with that one. I don't know what came on or off with this one. I don't see it, whatever it is. Alright, and then, yeah, we can just take and add things to it, the vehicle. Oh, see, there we go, it's taking away the Interceptor logo and whatnot. So yeah, you guys can play around with that. But other than that, that concludes this tutorial. If you do have questions, make sure you do comment them below. I will get back to them and answer any questions. Also subscribe to me, and that way you can get notifications of more content, tutorials, gameplay videos, and whatnot. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.